Hey guys, Wonderhussy here. I'm in Bryce Canyon. I've been hiking around all these different national parks in Utah all week, and out of all of them, or out of all the ones I've been to, this one is totally my favorite. I mean, this topography is just otherworldly. I mean, look at this behind me here. It's like all these crazy hoodoos, that's what they're called, hoodoos. Really trippy formations, and it's kind of a cold, wintry day. I had to put on my hoodie. I got hot cocoa with Bailey's in it, and I'm listening to a really spooky suspense true crime podcast. You know, one of those unsolved mystery podcasts. This one's called Lost Boy Larry. It's a really creepy, spooky story back in 1972. These CB radio transmissions came across from this young boy who was crying, terrified, begging for help. Nobody could tell where the CB signal was coming from. Came through, I think, out of New Mexico. They think it came out of New Mexico. And he was crying. This little boy was crying so hard that the people listening into the CB podcast could hardly understand what he was saying. But I guess what happened was, he said he was out rabbit hunting with his dad, and in the back country in New Mexico, and their truck rolled off the road into a ditch, or I'm not sure what happened, but he thought his dad was maybe dead because his dad was passed out on the steering wheel. Both the doors of the truck were pinned shut by rocks, and he was trapped in the truck, middle of nowhere. He didn't have any food or water, and he was begging for help. And this went on for several days. These broadcasts kept coming through, and so all these long-haul truckers, anybody else who was on the CB, was trying to communicate with him. Like, where are you, Larry? Tell us exactly where you are. You know, do you see any mountains? You know, trying to pinpoint where he was to go save him. But the transmission was really faint. There was a lot of static. He kept fading in and out. And then I guess he kept changing the channel on the CB. Apparently he didn't know what he was doing. So nobody ever found him. And to this day, nobody knows if it was just a hoax or if there really was some little boy named Larry who got trapped in his dad's pickup truck with his dead dad and ended up starving to death. Really spooky, and it just totally fits this spooky landscape that I'm hiking through. Anyways, this trail that I'm hiking is called the Fairyland Canyon Loop, and it really does look like Fairyland because of all these shapes. Really trippy. I mean, just look at this amazing friggin' trail. This is so cool. You descend basically from way back up at the top of the ridge there, and then the trail sort of winds down and around through all these amazing hoodoos and pine trees and this really otherworldly landscape. I can't think of any other word to describe it but otherworldly. It's my sister hiking way down there. Look how cool. It's like Lord of the Rings. So this hike I think this loop is 8 miles. And there's something like 1,700 feet of elevation gain because we're climbing down into the canyon, and then we gotta climb back up. But the last couple miles are flat right along the rim, so it's a nice kind of, you know, stretch out after the strenuous part. So we're anticipating it to take about 4 hours. So let's see how we do. Look, here's some freestanding hoodoos that we can actually walk up in among. How cool is this? I'm not really sure of the geology with these things, but something to do with the type of rock they're made out of, like all the different layers. So like a limestone layer doesn't weather away as much, so where it's fatter, that's limestone, and then where it's really narrow, that's a softer rock like sandstone, I guess. But yeah, they end up weathering away in these really unique ways to create these creepy Lord of the Rings like formations. I'm not kidding, you guys. I've hiked a lot, and this is probably my top 5 hikes I've ever done, and I'm only about a mile into it, just because this friggin' topography is so interesting. Oh my gosh. I love this hike. Now, like I said, I've been hiking in Utah for about a week now with my sister, and we went to Zion Park, we went to Arches National Park, and we went to Canyonlands National Park, and then we came here to Bryce Canyon National Park. We did hikes in all 4 parks and spent a pretty good amount of time in all of them. And I can say, without question, this is my favorite park out of all 4 of those. I mean, Arches is amazing. because of all those natural rock arches. And that was a great hike and a beautiful day. So that park is gorgeous. And then Canyonlands, just the vast landscape of Canyonlands is cool. So big. There's just so many plateaus and canyons. Did a couple hikes there as well. And then Zion, of course, was jaw-droppingly gorgeous. You know, we did the Angel's Landing hike and that was amazing. But I gotta say, this really is my favorite park so far. It's not as crowded as the other ones, that's part of it, but mainly it's because of these weird hoodoos. I mean, Arches had amazing topography, but I guess I'm a little bit jaded because I live in Vegas and Valley of Fire is right out back, and so I've seen similar-ish landscapes to that. So while it's amazingly beautiful, if you've never seen anything like that, I don't know, I guess for me it was kind of like, I mean, again, I don't want to sound too blasé because it was amazing, but you know, it wasn't that different from what I have in my backyard. And then Canyonlands, the scale was so vast that it was hard to even sort of comprehend or take it all in. I mean, it had amazing views, and I think doing a float trip down the Green River through Canyonlands would be absolutely amazing. And in fact, it's on my bucket list. You can take a canoe for 1 week or even 2 weeks, and you just drift downriver. If you do it in the fall when the river's low, you just sort of drift with the current. You don't even have to paddle, and you could be naked if you want. You're in the sun, floating down this beautiful river among all this amazing red rock scenery. I definitely want to do that, but that's from the river. Canyonlands Park you mostly experience from up top of the mesas, so you just get these amazing views, which were very cool. And then of course Zion Park, whew, everybody knows that place is absolutely beautiful, but it was really crowded, even though it's not even the busy season yet. And with Zion Park, everybody pretty much just goes into that one canyon, so it almost is like a bottleneck up there. But this park here is also huge, and it seems to me like it's less visited than the others. I mean, I'm here on a Sunday afternoon and there's hardly anybody here, and it's just so, these friggin' formations. I don't want to bore everybody, but I will say this: it is now on my bucket list to come to Bryce Canyon in the summer on a full moon night and hike this trail on mushrooms. Now, I know a lot of you people are going to say, what do you need to promote drug use? I'm not promoting drug use. Don't do mushrooms if you don't want to do mushrooms. It happens to be my favorite recreational drug, and I use them in moderation, and I always make sure I know where I am and what I'm doing, so I do them safely. Okay, I'm about to say something that's not meant for the ears of children, so if you have kids watching with you, you might want to send them out of the room or turn it off. For me, mushrooms are a way to enhance my enjoyment of stuff. It just gives you a whole new perspective on things. But it's funny, a lot of the emails I get from people who go, young lady, you shouldn't do so many drugs. I get the feeling that few, if any, of these people have ever taken mushrooms themselves, so they don't even know what the experience is all about. I mean, a lot of Native American tribes used to use mushrooms as a spiritual thing. I'm not gonna lie, I don't use them spiritually, and I've never had any kind of spiritual experience on them. And even if I was hiking here under a full moon, it would be fun, but I don't think I would have any kind of major revelations or anything like that. I would just be doing it for the fun of it. And sometimes you really shouldn't underestimate the value of fun. I mean, I know fun means different things to different people. To me, it just means really enjoying this amazing world that we live in. And taking mushrooms just gives me an extra, it kind of almost slows me down enough to really look and appreciate all this amazing stuff that surrounds us. I mean, if you're a Christian or you believe in God, you're Muslim, whatever, Jewish, God created all this. I mean, that's pretty amazing. I'm just an atheist, but even I have to marvel at this the amazing circumstances that I find myself in, you know? Like, out of all the billions of years that have gone by in history, I happen to be alive right now with all this amazingness around me. I'm so lucky. It's nice to remind yourself of that every once in a while when you're having a bad day, or your taxes you gotta pay, or you got a fender bender, or you don't like the fact that gay people can get married. This world is amazing. Okay, just take a break and stop to appreciate it. And I guess in a sense that's what mushrooms help people do. Just stop and take a break and appreciate the amazing stuff that's already around us. In fact, I wish everybody at the United Nations would take mushrooms at the UN. See how they got along then. I bet people would get along a lot better, because contrary to popular belief, mushrooms aren't like cocaine or meth where they make you all amped up and angry. They just make you happy. Try them sometime before you diss them. It's just a plant. They grow out of a cow patty, for crying out loud. Why would the good Lord have made them if he didn't want us to enjoy them? Anyways, I don't mean to make this a screed on mushrooms. I'm just letting you guys know I am not a drug addict. I have my life perfectly together. I just happen to enjoy eating magic mushrooms every now and again to enhance my appreciation and enjoyment of this wonderfully amazing world we live in. I mean, just look at this trail. I guess I should give some technical information out about it. It's pretty flat and easy. It's not a technically challenging trail. It does climb and go down, and like I said, 1,700 feet total elevation gain. But it's really it's a pretty gradual grade so far. I think there might be a steep section towards the end, which I'll shoot, but for now, it's pretty easy, and you're just, I don't want to sound like an idiot, but you're just going through the most amazing landscape ever. It's just, I cannot recommend this hike enough. Whew. Finally made it out of the canyon. We hiked all the way down from that rim, down to the bottom, and came back up along the rim for the last couple miles. And up here, the view is amazing. Look at all that stuff we just climbed in and among. We wound in and out of all those hoodoos, almost like being a fish in an aquarium, or like a fish in Finding Nemo swimming undersea through a coral reef. That's what this hike is like. What a trip. Okay, fortunately the last couple miles are flat along this rim trail back to the parking area where there's like a overlook over the Fairyland. So I'll catch up with you guys at the end, but wow. Just had to share this view with you guys. Whew. All right, we made it all the way to where we started, high above all that amazing stuff that we just hiked through, and it took about 3 hours. Okay, we were anticipating 4. The little newspaper they hand out that says 4 to 5 hours, but hey, I was hiking with my sister and she has asthma, and we're at elevation. The top here is 8,000 feet, so we went down to probably 7, 6 and back up, but basically the whole hike was at elevation. And even though she has asthma, my sister was great. She did it like a champ. So yeah, a little bit over 3 hours, 8 miles, and the most amazing scenery. I mean, I was trying to think about it while I was hiking. Like, I kept saying, oh, this is one of the top 5 hikes I've ever done. Well, what would my top 5 hikes be? Whew. I'm not sure. I mean, I know I did a hike once to Grinnell Glacier in Glacier National Park. That was friggin' amazing. And then the Grand Canyon down and back in one day. That's good. Mount Charleston Peak outside Vegas. Beautiful hike. I mean, I did a hike through a rainforest once in Hawaii. I hiked to Angel Falls, the world's highest waterfall down in Venezuela. Like, there's been some hikes that I've done that were super cool. But, I mean, even though this one here is just Utah, 4 hours from where I live, I feel like this is right up there. And I can't tell you guys enough how amazing it was. I really, really recommend, I know some of you aren't able to hike, but even just if you're able to travel out here and come to these overlooks, I mean, this is paved parking area. It's very simple to just walk out and see this stuff. It's friggin' amazing. So next time the news gets you down, never forget what is really out there in the world. The world is an awesome place. Everything is gonna be okay.